Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of iRock.tv. Where we have real talk about real careers and real results. I'm so excited to have you all with me as always, either live or on the replay. I'm so excited about my guest on today. And I am going to make sure whoever's on, go ahead and share the broadcast. I see people joining right now. Hey, good afternoon, Renee. Renee was on last week, so please make sure you go out to YouTube and make sure that you watch her episode. It was absolutely phenomenal. I've gotten so much great feedback on how she inspired so many of you all, and I thank you. So please make sure you go out to YouTube channel, Nicolette Barrett, also known as the Get Hired Strategist, and you will be able to watch that episode. Now, for those of you all who don't know me, I am Nicolette Barrett. I am also known as the Get Hired Strategist. I am a 4-time certified career coach specializing in resume writing, LinkedIn branding for not only career professionals, but also entrepreneurs, and also do job search strategy and interview prep coaching and career coaching overall. So I am so excited to have rebranded this show to be more of an interview series, and where I have a capability or the opportunity to speak with some awesome professionals in their field. And what you get a chance to do is get a sneak peek into what they do, almost like a virtual job shadow, and get to hear firsthand what they do, how they got to where they are, some of the challenges, some of the successes, and some of the pitfalls and not so good successes as well, so that they can talk through it. So you all can see that, hey, we're real people too. Being in corporate America for almost in one organization, almost 30 years, y'all. I just thought about that. Oh my gosh, let me count up the age. But anyway, it's going by fast. Yeah, I know I only look like, 25? I know. Thank y'all. Well, anyway, so therefore, I'm excited to have my guest on. And before I get started, I want you all to please share the broadcast with your audience while I go to a quick break, and then I'll bring on my special guest, Precious. All right, and we are back. All right, I am so excited to have my beautiful friend, Precious.
Hey!
As soon as I see you, we just start laughing, right?
All the time, right out the gate. That's how we roll. That's how we do this.
That's how we do. The first time I met Precious, we only met for about a few minutes, and this girl had me cracking up laughing so bad because she has the greatest quick wit that you would ever want to hear. And my makeup was coming off, my mascara and everything. And I was like, I don't even know this woman. Who is this woman? I have just fallen in love with her.
Bring a tissue every time.
Exactly. But before I get started, I really want to read her bio because it's absolutely phenomenal, so you can know who Mrs. Precious Norman-Walton is. Now, I got a whole lot of designations behind her name. The one thing you will know is that she is an insurance guru. She hosts a CPCU, and she was my former vice president last year for the CPCU Dallas chapter, and I got an awesome opportunity to serve under her, and I'm still serving under her. She's also a newly awarded designee for the SHRM-CP, TRIP, AIC, AIS, AINS, and ACS. And trust me, y'all, she ain't done yet. So she is a risk management, insurance, and human resources professional. Precious Walton is the president of Lovejoy Risk Management Corporation out of Dallas, Texas. With over 15 years of insurance industry experience, she has served in personal lines claims, commercial underwriting, and agency management. Prior to her current role, Precious was VP of Account Management for Insurance, VP of Agency Operations for Lucky Truck, and Chief Operating Officer for Diamond National Insurance Advisors. She has also served as the president of the Dallas Chapter CPCU Society in 2020, and she holds active licenses as a risk management, property and casualty agent, life and health agent, and all lines adjuster, as well as 6 distinct insurance designations in which I've already read, and is a SHRM certified professional in human resources. And I love that she put her superpowers down. We're going to dig into those. Her superpowers are professional development and networking, agency management, continuing education, and sales coaching. On a personal note, Precious resides in Dallas, Texas, where her and her husband are raising 2 beautiful children. She is an avid reader, self-proclaimed foodie, and enjoys traveling and making memories with her loved ones over material possessions. Also as a woman of color in leadership, she is passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion within the insurance industry. But no further ado, I bring you Precious Norman-Walton. Hello, Precious.
Hello, beautiful. I was like, I need you doing just that as my like walk up. That's gonna be my new like.
Girl, give me. I am your hype person. Bring me along. I would be right in the back doing like this, girl. I could do dancing in the chair a little bit better than standing up, but I would get you, girl.
I'm here for all of that.
Yes,
that's a mouthful, and I thank you.
Yes.
But let me tell you, let me give honor and props where it's due. So the first time that we met, when you presented to the Dallas chapter for the CPC Society, and you gave your pitch and your presentation on LinkedIn and how to really kind of level up your game, I took that wholeheartedly, and I went back and I was able to really expand and build a network, which really has become the platform for my personal brand. And it's just opened up doors. So thank you for all that wisdom that you share.
Well, thank you. And you're talking about somebody who has mastered it. I mean, y'all, if you go out, number one, you need to go and connect with her on LinkedIn. She is a master. And what I love about what Precious does, she's not just a networker for her own self. She is a connector of people. Yes. So when she sees an opportunity, she has someone in her back pocket that she can pull up, name off 2 or 3 names just like that to connect you. So that's what the power of networking is all about. And I love that fact that you said, Precious, that is one of your superpowers, is being a networker. So, I know I read a lot of your bio, but I always love for my guests to talk about them as a person. So tell me more about who you are, Precious.
So, that's interesting. I think that's an ever evolving answer. Right. And so, to kind of sum it up, just kind of like, what is my mantra? What is my, my mission is, I'm kind of a champion of the underdog and, a people supporter. So I'm that friend. Like, if you tell me you have a goal or that you're aspiring to do something, like, you can't not do it. I'm going to keep you accountable. I'm going to be that accountability partner. Right. And so I've been so fortunate over the years, and it's really a testament to, just speaks to the importance of having a solid reputation.
Oh my gosh. And let's hang our hats on that. What do you mean by solid reputation? Because you definitely have a solid one, because I've seen the magic. When you come in beck and calling, they come running. Girl, talk about that.
So a solid reputation means, consistency and accountability in a nutshell, right? If you're known for being a person of your word, for commitment, for operating in integrity, even when it's inconvenient, those are the things that kind of transcend your current role. And those are the relationships, because all of this is very relationship centric. And so when you honor relationships, when you ask questions, not just because it's your turn to speak, but you're genuinely interested in the response, it's a game changer, right? And so being genuine, being approachable, having a heart for, servant leadership is really just paramount to personal branding and having a solid reputation.
Right. Now, tell me, what do you do now? So now tell me about this Lovejoy.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you.
Yes.
So this is like, a very new transition.
Yes.
But it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
Okay. And so I have been searching for ways over the years of how do you combine taking care of people. And by people, I mean the people that we serve, the people who work for us. Like, it's not an either or. I think
Right.
sometimes we go into it and we think that it's a dog eat dog world. And we're taught that there's winners and there's losers, and we forget that when you do right by people, especially the
Right.
people who work for you and with you and that you're connected to, that carries far. We
Mm-hmm.
can lead a lot better by inspiration than we do by fear. And
Right.
so in this space, primarily from a risk management perspective, I really think it's important that people understand that speculative risk can go both ways, right? So speculative risk is a gamble, okay?
Yeah.
There's a possibility of winning or losing.
Yes.
And traditional risk management goes into situations preparing for the catastrophe. What are all the things that are going to go wrong? What are all the things that are seeking to take you out? But very rarely do we go into it with a thought of what happens if I win? What happens if I grow? Am I ready for that? What if this thing takes off? Right. And so that's why it's really important to work with someone who understands that insurance, while it's extremely important, is just a part of a larger risk management strategy. And so that's the Lovejoy risk management difference. Is I want to approach it holistically. So whether you've been in business for years, you're just getting started, or you're in the maybe you're just conceptualizing what is this thing going to look like. It's important to sit down and do an analysis. What is going well? Where are my opportunities? The SWOT analysis, right? And so, when you're able to weigh your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, and then you're able to customize a plan. So knowing this is what it looks like, how do I account for all of these different things? Some of them you're going to transfer. You may buy an insurance policy to kind of cover your bases here. Some of them may be leverage via finance, right? And so risk management is kind of the big sister of insurance. That's kind of the difference between a risk management firm and just an insurance agency. So it's very realistic. And so lastly, that human resource element. Unfortunately, and here's my soapbox, and I'll make it brief.
Go ahead, girl.
Is that too many companies and employees view human resources as being punitive. They only pull in HR when it's time for hiring and firing. And we completely forget that human resources is responsible for learning and development.
Yep.
Because you work a lot of places. It's like when you're hungry and you're in a bind and you have a limited budget and you might go through the drive-thru of some fast food place and you'll eat for a meal and you'll be satisfied, but did it actually nourish you? Did you get something out of it? And so as we very strategically navigate our careers, we always need to be thinking about how am I going to emerge better and different than I showed up. Right? Because it's got to be an evolution. Because otherwise, if we approach our careers as simply being transactional, the truth is you your time and you get some money, but you'll never get that time back.
Yes.
So bringing in resource element is super important for aspiring businesses, existing businesses, and being able to sit down and think about what is my human capital strategy? Do I just think about hiring when I have a need, or am I doing things right now to really establish my reputation as a solid employer that people would want to work for? If you don't have that reputation as a solid employer, it doesn't matter how much you're willing to pay.
Nope. Okay, because we know we've had some conversations where you have walked away from some money.
And so that's one of the things that I was really excited about coming on and sharing with, with the audience is how do you strategically navigate this? How do you know which experiences are going to really add to collectively where you want to go? Because just like when you put coordinates in your GPS, You can put an address, right? I want to go to the mall. Okay. Yeah. And so it's going to give you a couple of options, right? It's going to ask if you want the fastest route.
Yeah.
You want the shortest route. You want to avoid the tolls. Do you want the highways? But they all have the same destination. So there's multiple routes to get to a place. So as we look at our careers, as we think about our personal development, we have to begin with the end in mind, right? That's what Covey says.
Yes.
And so we have to be strategic, because as much as we feel like we're going to live forever and we're forever young, the reality of it is, when you think about scarcity of resources, just like you don't have unlimited funds in your bank account, unless you got one of those black cards. I don't know about that life. I'm not there.
Yes. That's my
bank tells me no, right?
Right. Yes.
We also have a very, we have a finite number of years that we're going to be in the job force.
Yeah.
We have a finite number of days and hours. And so we have to really maximize that. And so if my aspiration is to one day take the leap like I just did and kind of open up my own shop, then I have to collect the experience along the way that I'm going to then use when I finally get to that place. But the key is, you have to believe you're getting to that place.
Yeah.
If I told you, Nicolette, that I'm going to send you to the Bahamas, I'm going to pay for your way, I'm going to put you up at a hotel, I'm going to buy your flight, and all you have to do is pack.
That's it.
Then you would go and you would say, well, what do I have to wear? What's the weather going to be like? Am I going to swim? What am I going to do when I get there? So I think a lot of times we forget that when it comes to our careers, it's the same way.
Yep.
You wouldn't put your overcoat into your luggage because you only have so much space for so many outfits. If you're going to the Bahamas. And so we have to decide, what does success look like? Because that's going to be a very personal, individualized answer. There's no one size fits all. Are you looking for a lifestyle business where you're going to have the freedom to roam and do and enjoy? Do you want to build the next empire where you're going to be an employer of, millions upon millions of people? What does that defining thing look like? And what am I doing strategically to get there?
And that is so powerful, because when you talk about, because I always say that I'm a career development strategist, and people like, well, what does that mean? It's not just about just coaching you and giving you the woo-woo, because it is about emotional, yes. But after I get through the emotional, being the career counseling part of it, now it's time to get to work. Let's create a roadmap with the strategy, with the tactics on what you need to do to get to your end goal. And people don't understand that. You can't wing it and wake up at 45 and 50, you say, oh gosh, now I want to do something about my career. You have to have those building blocks along the way. Now, if I was to ask you, what is the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career that kind of sort of led you there to understand it now and share with others?
So it's really interesting in this, the quote came to mind, when I was having a conversation yesterday about, I think it's Winston Churchill, that says perfection is the enemy of progress. And so there's so many times and so many studies that show that there is a common mistake, oftentimes women, and I'll even dive deeper and say more so women of color, when it comes to the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Am I good enough? Am I ready? Are they going to support me? Am I going to be successful? And so we tend to be a little bit more hesitant to really rely on our capabilities.
Yeah.
And if I could tell myself 10 years ago that, this is definitely my destination, then I would have been a little bit more strategic, even in my path. I would have got here, sooner. Everyone jokingly says, if you can make it through like the first year and a half, 2 years, you're golden. Right. And so there's a piece of me that kicks myself in the pants, because I'm like, well, had I done it 2 years ago, I'd be in that 2-year spot.
Yes.
But timing is everything. And so even though I've had folks, and you can appreciate, everyone has their little bits that they want to deposit into your ear, and you have to be very selective about who you allow to speak to you about your dream.
Oh, and baby.
And sometimes they're well-meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
They're well-meaning. And so I've heard things like, why would you start a business in the middle of a pandemic? Is now the time.
Right.
Everything is so volatile. Why would you jump out there? You had a good job. You had a good salary. You've got, kind of the basis covered. You've got the family, you've got the career, you've got the income. And there are people that will tell you, and sometimes it's generational, right? Or sometimes it's cultural. Like you want too much. Why are you pressing? You've got it better than most.
You got enough.
You've got enough. At this point, it's just greed or ego, or you're being selfish. But when you really kind of dig down and understand that your abilities, we're all equipped with, a gifting and an ability so that others can benefit from it.
Yes.
And so if I don't lean into it, and if I don't spread my wings as far as possible, and if I don't dare to take these, bold strides, then I may be handicapping people behind me. So when you get out of your head and sometimes understand that it's got to be bigger than just this.
Yep.
So
I love that.
Yes.
I love that, because that is so important, because I always, I did a live years ago about all feedback is not good feedback, and you have to take it for what it is, and also sometimes consider the source. So it piggybacks on that. You're saying people, they're well-meaning, and sometimes people are just not well-meaning. And so therefore you have to look at the source and then dig deep inside of you to say, you know what do I really want? And really seek the guidance within yourself and those who will support you. Even sometimes if it's your own family members, you have to do that. And it's okay. So you have to still, like you said, dig deep. Now, let me ask you this question. What is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
Whew. Okay. My biggest failure was being strictly and exclusively money motivated. So I had accepted an opportunity earlier on in my career, because it was laid out to be a salesperson's dream. Right. I didn't have to do any outside soliciting or marketing. People were going to come to me. The product was already available. It was boom, boom, boom. It was just, what is it? Fish in a barrel. Right. And so I said, okay, I can get with that. I'm looking around, and there's some social proof. People are making the kind of money that they said that I was going to be able to make. And I said, hey, I'm not opposed to making money. What I didn't know at the time is that I was going to have to compromise on my standards, my ethics, and my morals, and how I went about doing so.
Yeah.
And in the insurance space, unfortunately, we have to always remember that as a professionally licensed individual, that when I speak, not only do I speak with confidence and people are inclined to believe me, but I also speak from a place of authority. So if I mislead people, there are ramifications for that. So in this environment, it was just, the focus was sell by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't fully understand, even if it came across a little bit almost predatory. It was get the deal done. Oh, we've got people in other departments that'll handle it if they have buyer's remorse. Your job is just close. And I was torn because, I was newer, earlier in my career, earlier in my marriage, earlier in my finances, young children at home. And I'm thinking, am I being too stodgy about this? Do I need to relax and go with the flow? Because there's a whole room full of people that are doing this every day.
Yeah.
But I didn't sleep at night. I said, because I got into this industry specifically with a desire to help.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel good about what I did, because I felt like people were going with it because I was selling it. I was closing them. I was giving them reassurances that I didn't even believe. And so if I had to do it again, as the old folks say, all money ain't good money.
That's right. Yeah.
There's an opportunity cost for everything.
Yeah.
And so when you're put in a position where in the short term it appears to be lucrative, but in the long term, that it's sustainable, not for who you are. And that's why it's, again, super important to define those things up front. before the door gets knocked on, before the opportunity is presented, you have to be able to set some parameters and say, for my next opportunity, these are my non-negotiables that have to be present, and table the compensation for now. Go back and get it, table it for now in the decision-making process, right? Because you have to say that I want to be in an environment where my development is a priority.
Right.
I want to be in an environment where I feel free to authentically and fully show up. I don't want to have to fake and shake and pretend to be someone that I'm not to go along to get along.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
We already walk this tightrope.
Yeah. We don't need nothing else. Because one little thing just knock us right off.
Just one more thing, because you have to remind yourself, you're like, okay, am I being polite? Am I being approachable? Am I on my game? You know, there's so many outside forces that are already on us. I don't want to intentionally walk into situations that aren't sustainable long term. And so, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, just quit your day job right here and right now. But have a strategy and know that better is there if you want it.
Yes.
And how much are you willing to put in to get it?
Yes. Now I'm gonna ask you a flip side.
All right.
What is your biggest success? And what did you learn from that?
My biggest success was getting out of my own way. So I laugh about 2020 and now 2021 has really been the year of camera time for me. Because I have this thing that a lot of women are probably in the same boat, where I'll go back and I'll watch myself or I'll hear myself and I'm like, I can't stand that. Like, if you give me a chance, like, you remember back in the 90s when you used to like record your like outbound message.
Awesome. You would text me, I don't think I did it. I think you did fabulous. What are you talking about? So you remember back in the day when, you know, you had like an outbound voicemail and you'd be like, take 2, take 20, take 30. And it's like, did I really, you know, is my mouth always look like that? What's up with my eye? Like, we're so self-critical. So I have a tendency that I pick at myself. And so I've backed out of opportunities and I've backed out of things because I've wondered, you know, am I, is it going to come across right? Are they judging me? Are they looking at me? And so when I learned that, you know, it's time to, the content is really what people seek. That's what they're drawn to. You know, it's my hope I'm not too hard on the eyes. You understand? Yeah. But you're beautiful. But even the acceptance. So shout out to Meg McKean, which I absolutely adore, who works, you know, in this insurance, you know, consulting coaching space. So I posted a video, I think a couple weeks ago, talking about, you know, get on camera, get out there, get it done. And it was funny because all the comments that came back after her presentation had to do with her. So she's decided to not dye her hair anymore. So she's transitioning into, you know, accepting her gray hair. And so I shared with her, I said, I've been in the process of going gray since my 20s. So I'm pretty sure if I stripped all of the color out of my hair today, it's probably gray to the tips. Like, there ain't no more pepper in this salt. Like, it comes in. And let it be what it be, right? And so with COVID and, you know, lack of access and lack of willingness to put myself out there to sit in a shop to, you know, and so I said, hey, I'm just going to embrace it, you know, and so I found this group called Grombre, right? So we talk about like ombre where you have like, you know, the different colors. So Grombre is like gray, right? And so kind of like when you're transitioning to natural hair and you have to do like a big chop. Yeah. You know, to kind of, So I said, you know what? I'm going to fully embrace me. And it's your silver crown, my dear. It is. And so now in this journey, you know, I'm to a point officially where I'm not shrinking into small spaces to be less intimidating. I'm going to shine. I'm going to be like what they said, be all you can be. Yes. Yes. Look at our boy, Matt, on here. You see him? What's up, Matt? Yes. Well, that is good. And, you know, when I was thinking about it, so because when people think of insurance, they just think that it's such a boring type of industry. And they also think it's always the small agent's office on the corner, and it's not always that. Now let's talk about what advice would you give someone who's looking to enter into the risk management field? What does that career look like, that career path?
So one of the things that I love about this industry, I'll start from one end and I'll work my way kind of to the other, is that number one, insurance is the vehicle that makes all other business possible.
Yeah.
Insurance is the one common thread that makes all manner of financial investment possible. If you think about it from the personal transaction, if you bought a home and you had a mortgage, and if somebody said to you that if anything happens to this thing, you got cash money, settle up with us and pay off the balance of your mortgage, you couldn't do it. You could not buy a home.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you think about it as it is a necessary component that will be with just as stable as law, as medicine, as some of those other careers that we kind of put really high.
Yes.
That insurance is very integral to society, to commerce, to business, to all of those things. Number two, the barriers to entry, especially in my world, the agent broker space. When you go to school and you pursue higher education, whether it be your bachelor's, your master's, whatever you're working towards, you have very little control over how quickly the semesters can pass. Right. Sometimes it's cost prohibitive. We have so many of us, Nicolette, that are strapped with student loan debt.
Yeah.
I had posted a couple weeks ago, I got like an email from Navient talking about checking in on you. I'm like, we're not friends. You know where to find me. I know where to find you. Right. But don't be cute. Don't do that. Right. So talking about, hey, just want to know. No. You, Sally Mae, all of them. We are not friends.
Right.
So those things happen, right? And I'm not saying that it's not, there's a return on investment, but that's kind of a longer goal. Whether it's the claims handling space or the agency space, we require the only bar is a license. And a license requires one test at 70% or higher to become licensed.
Yes.
And so even if you're early in career and maybe you get your license while you're still pursuing some of the other things that you want to pursue, it is still a very viable, vibrant place to, consider when you're thinking about not just from a career perspective, but also from an entrepreneurial perspective. So sharing with someone the other day that the beauty in selling insurance is you have no inventory.
Yeah.
Shipping.
Yeah. You don't have to house it. You don't have to stock it. You don't have to do anything, right?
We're selling an intangible product that still has such a huge impact, right? Yeah. And so when I talk about, when I speak with and consult small businesses are looking to enter into a space, and oftentimes there's a dollar amount, right? And so they'll tell you, if you want to go into business, you need to have X number of thousands. If you want to go like a franchise opportunity, then you've got to have this credit score and these resources and that sort of thing. There's so many entry points in insurance sales. But then lastly, what I get all the time is people think that all there is to insurance is sales. Right? Oh, I don't want to sell. I'm just not good at selling. And I said, no, there's difference between high pressure sales and consultative sales.
Yes.
Because the secret is we're all selling.
Yeah, we all are, no matter whatever role we're in.
On your credibility, right? If you make a recommendation on anything, that is a sales pitch. And so people hide because the only difference is that there might be a monetary transaction, right? At the end of my pitch, I have to ask for a credit card.
Yeah.
So, the people who are afraid of coming across salesy, this is definitely a space where what I do is I problem solve. I help people identify what's out there, find solutions on getting it covered, and then that way they have peace of mind that we've taken care of the things that are necessary. So your question about how do you get into risk management? I'm so excited that the academia world is starting to catch up to what we've known for years. And so rather than having to major in finance, risk management and insurance programs are showing up on college campuses all over the place. Here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, UT Dallas has a very vibrant, RMI program. University of North Texas, UNT, has a program. So there are programs if you're looking to go the traditional route in terms of, an educational pursuit. And then there are the designations. You can study
at our college level, hard as heck.
Exactly. It takes a lot, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to be treated by a doctor where he's like, I heard about what you have. I ain't never met no one like you, but we're going to see what this book says. Let me pull up the Google and the YouTube.
They better know.
I need you to know that you know that you know before you pull out Scalpel the First. That you've got some time under your belt. That you don't want
what you're talking about.
You don't want your pilot to say, this is just my second flight ever.
He better not announce that. People will exit the back door
immediately. And but it's worthwhile because you're handling people's livelihoods. You're helping them take these complicated situations and break it down to actionable decisions. And so when I realized that that's really what it's about these decisions are necessary. And so if you can be that catalyst and that tool that guides somebody through it, that's what I fell in love with, because that fit who I was as a person, even prior to starting my career track. And so wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever that thing is, what is that thing that you're known to do? That thing that you lose all track of time because you're just so passionate about? What is that thing that people seek you out for? Because I think that's the thing about the authenticity. We don't have to go out there and learn a whole brand new thing oftentimes, but if we learn to hone our craft, then we can use what we have already. Kind of like when you go into the kitchen and you didn't make plans for dinner.
And you're like looking in the cabinets. Let me see what kind of masterpiece I can create.
I got some chicken. I got some pasta. We're going to work this out with what I got in this fridge. You don't got to go to the store. And you don't have to call for takeout or delivery. And so oftentimes we already have the tools. And so now we just have to sharpen them. Right. And so we have to plug in through mentorship, through education. With mentorship, there's formal and informal mentorship. LinkedIn, you can follow people. I always talk about, if you're interested in the thing, really kind of tap in and see what the buzz is. Be in the circle where these conversations are happening.
Exactly. And I love the fact that you even talked about it being a consultative type of sale, because it's all about relationship building and really getting to know the people so that you can actually problem solve. So those are some of the things that you're interested in. Your problem solving, relationship building, and you want to become a consultant. Look at it from that perspective. Then a hard sales, like you're going door to door selling vacuum cleaners or encyclopedias like years ago, right? It's not the same.
Absolutely. Because the consultative sale, it gives you a chance, first of all, to build rapport. And one of the basic needs of human beings, and I don't care who you are, is the desire to be heard, recognized, appreciated. You know what I mean? And so, I hate cookie cutter responses and answers. We have to really, figure out, because I can't offer up a solution if we don't even have agreement that there's a need.
You see our president, our former president of the CPCU Society. Hi, Michael. He's at every live stream I tune into. And this is the year of Precious.
I'm
so glad to have you on, Michael.
Airwaves. Yes. I got something to say.
And she's selling our industry, Mike, I tell you. Awesome. Now, let me ask you this. What are the best resources that have helped you along the way?
Hands down, the CPCU Society has been a game changer in my career. Now, mind you, I wasn't born the day I conferred. Okay. And so I was a human being before I pursued this. I was really blessed with great mentorship, and Mike Castellani is actually a huge mentor of mine. Along the way. And when mentorship, when you have people that recognize something in you, challenge you, give you opportunities to stretch, pull it out of you, and don't allow you to sell yourself short. Okay. And so those accountability partners, you know, because I remember even when, you know, I had a one-on-one with my manager, you know, early on when I started my CPCU journey. He was the first CPCU I'd ever met. So I didn't know, you know, what all that was about. And he cautioned me up front. He was like, it's a very rigorous program. A very small percentage of us in the industry hold this. You know, this is going to challenge you in ways, but you're also going to get such a greater depth and appreciation of how all of this works. And I said, I want that.
Yeah.
If I want to pursue something, I want to go after something that is going to be recognized. Right. And so back to the whole conversation as far as barriers of entry and even compensation plans. Many of us, those who are on this, you know, live cast, or if you're watching it later, you may work for a large corporation that in addition to your salary, there are other benefits that are part of your total compensation package. Many times those include professional development opportunities. So the pursuit of a designation. Sometimes they include tuition reimbursement. You know, one of the new things that's really starting to trickle into insurance more and more is student debt repayment.
Yes, that is something a lot of companies are starting to look to do for people. Yes.
How do you attract talent? How do you retain talent, right? And so if you haven't achieved these levels of education, let us sponsor you. If you already have, let us help you with, because we're the recipient of all of that knowledge. And so there's all of these things on the table. So what I'm saying to you is that if the only thing that you're taking advantage of on a regular basis is your first and 15th deposit, you're leaving money on the table.
Sure enough, I love that you're saying that, because those courses and things that you get, even, you know, from a lot of the soft skills that we were trained, we got a chance to go to Stephen Covey trainings by certified trainees. What is it? Training the trainer I've gotten certified in. Also the crucial conversations. All through corporate America. Those are expensive courses. And I will never forget, I met a lady who started her company. She had been working as an entrepreneur for 20 years, but had about a 10, 15-year career before. And she told me, as I was newly starting out with iRock, she said, take advantage of all the education you can while you're still in corporate America, because I didn't. And when I got out doing my own thing, I had to pay for those courses, and they're very expensive as an individual. She said, get all the learning that you can while you're there before you take the leap into entrepreneurship 100%. That was one of the best advice I ever heard. And that's so true. But even with the CPCU. Yep.
Between CPCU, volunteerism, right?
Yes.
Because oftentimes, and I get that feedback a lot, you know, how do I, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right?
Yeah.
I try to get the opportunity. They say I lack the experience, but where am I going to get the experience if no one gives me the opportunity? And volunteerism fits a huge need there.
Yes.
Because if you join an organization such as the CPCU Society, or there's so many different professional organizations out there, and you have the opportunity to lead a committee, assist with the project, guess what? All of those fancy verbs you can carry back over to the resume world, right?
Yeah.
This is your world I'm speaking to now.
Yep, exactly. Yes, and I coach, if I get a client in that's doing nothing but going and doing the 1 to 15 deposit, I send them back and go do something. I said, you must have something to show that you're a well-rounded person, and that you're not going to get burnt out by being a worker bee. You need an outlet. Volunteerism is huge.
And even at the high school level, right? Because for college applications and scholarships, they want to see what are the other activities you're involved in. You got the scholastics down, your GPA is solid. Do you do any community service? Do you plug into, you know, other opportunities? And so those are the places that are safe spaces to really give it a shot. You know, you can't get fired. We're not getting paid.
All right. And you know what? When you're doing that kind of volunteerism, even when you get your corporate job, for those young people who are still in college and they are still volunteering, when they get to the organization, when they get to those volunteer opportunities, they're going to ask them, well, where do you work? They're branding the organization. They'll say the company name in which they work. So it goes far beyond. And even in some companies allow you time to do volunteerism. So though, and like you said, for the resume, it gives you those additional skill set that you can utilize. You may be not a title leader in your organization, but you may be a title leader in a volunteer organization where you have a lot of leadership skills. It doesn't matter. So the fact is that you're putting those skills to use in those different arenas. So
And
that's excellent advice.
people see you in a different light. Maybe at work you have a specific role and they know that you're a solid coworker.
Yes.
Get into the volunteer space and they didn't realize that you were a great organizer. They didn't realize that you had all these other superpowers.
Right.
That you get to see on a day-to-day because your scope at work may be limited. Now you get a platform where you get to shine and you get to connect with other professionals and other individuals that have a common, a passion, especially in the volunteer life. And so, they talk about, depending on what level of employment you seek, some things, there are ads, that are posted, certain things, it's more of a tap on the shoulder.
Right.
And so, in order to be approached, you have to be approachable and you have to put yourself out there and people have to know what it is you're aspiring to do.
Yes.
So those are all good things. And these are free resources, right? I'm not
saying exactly. You have to pay a dime.
Pay a dime to raise your hand, to volunteer. And right now, again, with everything being socially distanced, you can participate from afar.
Yeah. Right.
And I just signed up through NIA to volunteer to do a presentation for junior achievement. AmeriCorps. Absolutely. There's so many different things that are out there. But if you seek them, you'll find them. And, and then it becomes your contribution. And, I mentioned this, to Mike's point on another presentation I was on, that I'm so fortunate to have been involved in an industry that has given me such an opportunity to develop and to give back and to do work that I'm passionate about. And so now I have a duty and an obligation to pay that forward and to reinvest into that same opportunity. I'm especially, you mentioned in my introduction and bio, the diversity, equity, and inclusion piece. That oftentimes these career paths aren't ones that are being presented to us or explained to us or offered to us in certain communities, right? And so, people have to have access so they can pick your brain. And that's what you're doing with this show. You're bringing different professionals on,
right,
saying what lights your fire. Because if you're somewhere right now where it's just become transactional, you don't have the heart to be there. When you pull up into the parking lot every Monday morning, you got to hype yourself up to open the door, or to log on. Then you're not in your healthy or your wealthy space.
Right. Now, I love that. Now, we got to talk about the 2 to 3 most influential people in your world.
Oh, is that all the numbers that I get?
I know, right? Because I know you can name a ton. So I'm like, just give me some of your high level, and not to, disregard anybody else, but just what you think of right now.
Right out of the gate, I have to thank my better half, my husband, Aaron Walton. I was very, and I mentioned this the other day as well. If you're not in a season where you have that sort of support at home and you're kind of evaluating if that's something that you desire and that you're seeking, you have to approach it at least to a little bit, thinking about how are we going to support each other through the seasons.
Yes.
And I'm the first one to say that early in our marriage, my husband out-earned me by a significant amount, and we've gone through our various iterations and seasons. And so it's because I know that I have the full support of him and my family that I can take the risks that I need to, because they know it's really for the greater good for our whole family. So hands down, out the gate, and not because I want flowers for Valentine's Day.
Wink, wink.
Right. If you're out there,
get that?
you know. So him first and foremost.
Yes.
You know, second biggest influence really in my career right now, you know, and I don't know if he's dropped off or not, is Mike Cassoni.
Yep.
You know, I had the opportunity of connecting with Mike through, you know, CPCU Society and leadership. And I still remember to this day, we had gone to the regional meeting down in San Antonio, and it was a much smaller crowd. And so we had different breakout sessions. And he had mentioned in that meeting the importance in having mentorship, and mentorship doesn't necessarily mean there's an age or generational difference. You can have older mentors, you can have younger mentors. And so when I've gone through some job transition, he has stood up and raised his hand and said, what door can I open? Who can I introduce you to? I'll never forget when, you know, I shared with him some of my, you know, ambitions and things that I, you know, plan to do. And he's here for it. You know, he was absolutely think that that's something that's not just possible, but doable, but inevitable. So, you know, definitely lean into
kudos to Mike. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So number 3 is not an individual, it's kind of a collective, right? You have to find your tribe.
Yes.
And so I have a group of very moving, progressive minded, successful women specifically, you know, have really held me up. You are a big part of that, Nicolette. Because whenever I'm making a big move, if I know I need someone to, you know, just kind of help me think things through, you know, someone to pray with me, I know that I got a phone call. Get on your calendar and we can make that happen.
Always.
And I'm finding out even more, because that's, like we said earlier, everyone who's in your audience is not in your corner. Some people only like you where you are now because they know how to deal with you. And as you continue to grow, it's okay. There's going to be certain people that aren't going to grow with you. You know, I mentioned yesterday, it's like TSA. You know, you've got to decide how bad you follow this flight. Oh, did I freeze? Oh, did I lose you guys?
Is looking like, did I lose you, Precious? Are you still there? Okay, there you go. We had a little buffer. I'm sorry.
No worries. I said, you know, look, the enemy didn't want that testimony out there, but it's all right. We're back. Yes. But yeah, find your tribe, find those people who genuinely love you. And most of the time you have to understand they have to love themselves to love you, and they have to come from a place of security. So if you're the smartest person in your circle, that's not a circle, that's a cage. And you have to expand, and you have to be willing to shed to grow.
Wow, girl, you and your gems. Oh my gosh, Precious, this has been an awesome interview, in which I knew it would be. Thank you so much for agreeing at the last minute. I was like, girl, I need you all like this week, because you already filled out the information. I was like, she has a schedule. Where's my Precious? I need her now. And thank you for answering my beck and call to be my special guest on this episode. And I would say this is episode number 3 of the rebranded live stream show, now called iRock.tv. Real talk, real careers, real results. Now I'm gonna ask you one last question, Precious.
Yes.
When I say I rock, think about your career, your life, or whatever, and I want you to say I rock because why do you rock?
I rock because I genuinely care about people and genuinely want to take care of people. So I don't know if I got stuck again.
Say it one more time. We buffered a little bit. Say it one more time.
I said I rock because I genuinely care about people.
You do.
And when you genuinely care about people, whatever you put out there, you will receive tenfold.
Yes. Well, thank you, Precious. You are awesome. I love you to pieces, and I cannot wait till we get on the phone again and just be laughing. And then, because we bad, y'all. It's so bad. We just whatever. Y'all should hear some of the stuff. She dropped a lot of great gems and analogies. But you talking about this wit? Oh, it's phenomenal. You just gotta hear some of this stuff. Well, I so appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and sharing us your expertise and all of, like I said, the gems. And you wear your silver crown well. And I just love you to pieces. Thank you so much for everything.
Yes.
And thank you to my audience. Now, where can they connect with you, Precious?
So I am a LinkedIn champion, thanks to Miss Nicolette Barrett. So Precious Norman-Walton, find me, connect with me. I'm on there all the time. I'm super responsive. If you want to talk with me one-on-one about anything that's come up, chat with Precious.
Right.
Chatwithprecious.com is my URL, so you can grab some time on my calendar.
Yes.
I mean, I love sharing and encouraging. And so whatever I can do that's meaningful, reach out, please.
Awesome. Thank you. And to you all, this is something new that I'm doing. This is a listener and viewer supported program. Just buy me a latte. So go to buymecoffee.com/inbarrett and give a donation to support this program. Yes, there are costs to do these things, and it's a very small, just buy me a coffee, nothing major, but this is something new. It's a great little website that I got introduced to, and I will love it. And I will make sure that I recognize you at the next show. So next week, I got Amy coming on next week. And because it's Black History Month, Amy Warrengy, she's going to be talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion and her awesome work that she's doing and some books that she's written. And from her viewpoint on what makes the difference, what she's doing to make a difference in that space for women particularly, but for everybody involved. So I'm excited to have her on next week. But thank you all so much for joining me for yet another episode number 3 of the iRock.tv. Go to buymecoffee.com/inbarrett. Support the show. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go to my indie commercial, and I will see you guys next week.